Yo, what's up, guys? CM Tears here, back with another video. Um, Today we have um, a tier list that I've been meaning to get to for a while. Every single superhero movie. Uh, this is again, like I said, this is one that I've been trying to get out. Originally, it was gonna just be Marvel movies, but um, I feel like I have a lot to say that's like similar for most Marvel movies. So I felt like that would be a little too bland, and I kind of wanted to. I personally think that you know there are a lot of other movies. I didn't want to do two separate videos for Marvel and DC. I felt like that was kind of just like an oxymoron. I figured why not just get it all done right now. Um, I will admit the title's a little misleading because I'm noticing a lack of like non cinematic universe movies. So like The Incredibles, Megamind. Uh, this amount of movies should be fine for now. I don't really think there's a. I don't really want to rank a lot of those movies anyway because it's just it's no. I'm not getting in that. It's a whole rabbit hole. Um, but these are a lot. A lot of the movies are here. I'd say 90% of the ones that I would want to rank are here, and that's fine with me. Um, so there are a lot of like heavy hitters, and there are a lot of just absolute shitters, bro. Like some of these movies are just dog shit. So sorry if your favorite movie ends up in fucking garbage tier because that's just how it goes, bro. I'm sorry, but Howard the Duck is not a good movie. I'm sorry to say. I'm gonna change the tiers up though. I'm gonna rename them, so I'll be right back. Yo, I'm back. So I've just created new titles for each tier. I'm gonna try to explain what each one means and the criteria for getting into each tier. Again, it's not that serious, but I figure I should just go through it anyway. From top to bottom. So creme de la creme. If you're in creme de la creme, it means that your movie, the movie, was not only an amazing superhero movie, but it was also a genuine like great film. Okay, I don't want to go as far as to reserve this for like the top 200 films of all time because guess what? Superhero movies and good movies are not synonymous. And I understand that superhero movies have a hard time being good movies because a prone they have a proneness to having plot inconsistencies and a whole host of other issues, and so it's hard for them to be like amazing movies. Um, Again, I don't really care if it was a good movie or not. If it was a good superhero movie, that's all I care about. But this tier here is reserved for great movies and great superhero movies. They have to be, both. Okay, masterpieces are superhero movies that I feel are truly like elevate. Like they are just amazing movies. Maybe they're not creme de la creme. Maybe they have some, um, you know, a few glaring flaws, but it's nothing that really turns your head away. Masterpieces are just that, masterpieces. Um, so amazing movies are movies that just miss that mark just a little bit. There's something missing or something that's just off or wrong about the movie that shouldn't be there. But they're still great movies. You can watch them whenever you want. You don't get bored of them. They go here. Good movies. So this is a cutoff, right? In order to be in good movie or above, your movie has to be a good superhero movie and it has to be a good movie, okay? It has to be a movie I can look at and say, yeah, that's a good movie. It's not just good because it's a superhero movie, right? Um but below that are movies that, are good superhero movies maybe, like Not Bad Kid. Not Bad Kid is reserved for movies that are good superhero movies, but they're just not good movies. There's something about them. Maybe the acting is bad. Maybe there are just a lot of plot inconsistencies. Maybe there are things that just don't make sense. Maybe it's hard to follow. Whatever it is, if it's just not a good movie necessarily, it's going here. Just alright movies are movies that are just, kind of forgettable. Um, they're not bad, but it's just, I mean, there were things off about the movie that were off-putting to you. Maybe they weren't offensive in any way, but it's just all right, you know. Mid movies are movies that were just mid, forgettable. You know, I've always said with superhero movies, if the worst thing your movie can be is boring and forgettable, right? Um, and so if your movie was boring and forgettable, but it wasn't offensive, then it's going in mid, right? I've always thought it's better to have a horrible superhero movie because at least people will remember it for something. If your movie's just mid, it's just people forget about it. It's like, oh, what movie was that again? You know, I don't recall watching that because it was so like just not important. So yeah, mid. That's for those movies. Trash, self-explanatory movies that are just bad. Um, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Dog shit are just movies that I feel genuinely should not have been made. I mean, if you're in mid or below, they shouldn't have been made, but they just don't serve any purpose whatsoever. There's no watchability. They're just literally unwatchable for the most part. And so bad it's good. So bad, just because it's at the bottom doesn't mean it's actually the worst tier. I would honestly, okay, so there are a lot of movies on this list that are not good movies and honestly not good superhero movies. Um, but they're fun to watch and they're entertaining. And entertainment value and object and subjectivity with how good a movie is it's just they collide a lot. And so this is my solution to movies like uh, Batman and Robin, for instance. Sorry, spoiler. Yeah, it's going here. But that movie, it is a bad movie and it's not a good superhero movie, but it's fucking fun to watch. You know, I will never, ever, ever say no to watching that movie. And so honestly, so bad it's good is like a better equivalent to mid, if that makes sense, right? No excuse. Your movie, it's still a bad movie, but it's a movie that I will like to watch every now and then, you know. So it's a guilty pleasure, if you will. Um, I could define what it means to be a good superhero movie, but then I'd be here forever. And the idea of a good superhero movie changes so much throughout the eras because there are movies in here that date to the 1960s, and there are movies here that came out just this week, like the new Fantastic movie. Um, so we kind of have to go by the genre and the era, the source material. Um, yeah. So enough yapping, enough ranting. I've spent a whole like 5 minutes talking about the damn tiers themselves. I haven't gotten in the fucking movies. Um, so let's start off with X2, X-Men 2. Um, yeah, I know it's kind of weird that I'm not doing the first X-Men movies, but okay. Um, honestly, it's one of the better X-Men movies. I feel like the script was very good. Um, again, the acting, Hugh Jackman and Ian McKellen, Wolverine and Magneto, amazing in this movie. Um, Wolverine had a lot of good character development in this movie, a lot much needed character development. But I feel like there were a lot of side characters that were just not utilized, and they were just kind of sidelined, underdeveloped, like Storm and Cyclops. And yes, Storm and Cyclops get sidelined in like almost every X Men movie, so that's gonna be something I bring up a lot. I do think X2 was better than the first X Men. Um, it's not a good movie, but it's not a bad movie. It's not bad kid. You know, this is a not bad kid movie. Very definition of it actually. So this is Fantastic Four. The Return of the Silver Surfer. Is that the Rise of the Silver Surfer? Jesus, it's been so long since I watched this movie. Sorry. Um, but it's trash. I remember enough about this movie. It's so mid. Okay, first of all, Doctor Doom. I don't know what it is about the Fantastic movies, but they literally cannot get Doctor Doom down at all. Like he's so underwhelming in this movie. Like the Fantastic Four themselves were just so inconsistent. Like it's there and okay, don't even get me started with the depiction of Galactus. Like, bro, oh my god. Um, the only real highlight I can think of for this movie is that the CGI for Silver Surfer was like pretty decent, especially for the time. I don't really remember when this came out. I think this is 2003, 2005, sometime around then. So the CGI was pretty good for that time, but I just think this movie was mid. It was just it's low-key trash, and I might move into trash, but nah, it was trash. I'm sorry, this movie was bad. Um, Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's a little out of place, but whatever. I think this is a very good movie. This is a very good movie. I think it's the second best of the Tom Holland trilogy so far. Trilogy, very good. I'll do when I get through all the Spider-Man movies. I'll tell you how I would rank each actor for Spider-Man, and I'll tell you how I would rank each um, Spider-Man series top to down, right? Um, I think Tom Holland is an amazing Peter Parker. He's also a pretty good Spider-Man. Um, God, who played Vulture in this movie? I remember his performance was actually pretty damn compelling. Oh, Michael Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton. He was amazing. He was an amazing Vulture. This movie had a lot of good humor and tone. This is before I feel like the MCU was kind of corrupted by like too much humor, you know. But it had a good balancing of that. There were a ton of good action sequences. It's very visually impressive. Some of the pacing was a little uneven, and the story was like kind of cliche and predictable. But honestly, I don't really care about a lot of that. It was honestly just a very good movie overall. So we're gonna keep it there. Next is Black Panther. So this is controversial, right? When Black Panther came out, bro, I swear to God, there's so many people saying this is like the best superhero movie ever made. And I get it. It's partly because it's like it's such a unique movie, and I mean, a lot of people appreciate the cultural representation in this movie, but the truth is, it's just not in contention for the best. It's a really good movie. Don't get me wrong. It had strong characters. T'Challa, by the way, Rip Chadwick Boseman. Um, Killmonger was an amazing villain. He was a compelling villain. He had a lot of complexity. Um, this movie had a lot of good action, visually impressive. I think the CGI was kind of subpar though. It could have been a little better. I'm not gonna lie, this movie is very overrated by the mainstream. I think a lot of people like to say it's like creme de la creme, top three Marvel superhero movies of all time, but it's just not, in my opinion. It's pretty good. It's a good movie. It's not. It's better than Homecoming. I will say that, but it's just not. It's just not an amazing movie for me. It doesn't really elevate it to that status. I might put it in amazing. Okay, I might. But I would have to be a little more compelled to. So I'll think on that for a little bit. Okay, Ant-Man. Bro, I feel like I'm the only person on the planet that thinks Ant-Man was actually a pretty good movie. Okay, it wasn't a good movie. It wasn't a good movie. And actually, it's probably just all right. Dude, I'm compelled. I'm conflicted because it's one of those movies where I actually deviate a lot. I feel like I have a pretty mainstream opinion on most of the Marvel movies, but Ant-Man I actually don't think was too bad. Was it a good movie? No, but I do think it was a good superhero movie. Um, I mean, I'm trying to think of what to say. Okay, I liked Paul Rudd's character. Paul Rudd was a perfect Ant-Man in this movie. I forget who plays Hank Pym, but he was amazing. Um, Story was really good. The villain was good. Um, I feel like a lot of people dislike this movie because over time people have claimed that this movie was horrible, and people kind of just have fallen in this like spiral of calling this movie trash without actually knowing why it's trash. I mean, yeah, some of the dialogue is bad and the humor kind of falls flat sometimes. But I really don't see a compelling argument for this being a horrible movie. It's going in Not Bad Kid. I think X2 is better though as a movie, so it's going there. I think they're about the same as far as superhero movies go, but whatever. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, this movie was mid. I really don't know what else I can say. I've watched this movie 3 times, and I don't know why I watched it more than once, to be honest, dude. This movie's buns, bro. It's just so bad. Um, I mean, I could sit here and say why it's bad, but that would be a waste. I'm going to anyway, though. I didn't like the dialogue in this movie. The story felt a little weak. I didn't like the villain. Um, I feel like they dumbed the characters down a little bit. I feel like it wasn't as compelling of a story. Um, I mean, the action was cool and CGI was, was whatever, but it just doesn't feel like the first movie did. Not to say that the first movie was a masterpiece or anything, but it just doesn't. It's just not a good movie. I'm sorry, it's in mid. Um, okay, Avengers Pro. Avengers is a really good. Nah, yeah, it's going in amazing. I was gonna say, is it? Yeah, no, it is. It is. Nah, because there are some better movies. There are some better movies. Um, so first of all, it was a groundbreaking movie for Marvel, bruh, and overall for superhero movies. It's kind of introduced the whole idea of like a superhero movie has to have a big budget. It has to be blockbuster. I don't agree with that sentiment, but it does influence a lot of the newer generation movies. I mean, come on, what is not to love about this movie? These are all the characters that we've you know grown with over the last couple of movies, like Captain America. If you were into the Hulk movies, even though technically that's not really kind of Iron Man, the Thor. Shoot, who else? Actually, no, I think it was just Iron Man, Cap, and Thor, and technically Hulk, but that we knew before this movie. But seeing them all come together and fight, the action sequences are amazing. CGI was really good for the time. Um, it's hard for me to say something that hasn't already been said about Avengers. So it's a good movie. Now we get into something that is a little more controversial, and that's Age of Ultron, which I think was just all right. I'm gonna be honest with you. Start with positives though. It had a lot of good action sequences. Don't get me wrong. Every Avengers movie does. The special effects were amazing. I'm gonna have to mention the Hulk and the Hulkbuster fight. That was pretty fucking cool. One of my highlights for this movie, as I'm sure it is for many people. Um, so we had new characters like Wanda. I feel like there was a lot of good development for Hawkeye. It was key for the future. A lot of like the whole oh god, Sokovia Accords and the whole deal with Ultron. Speaking of Ultron, bro, James Spader as Ultron was actually amazing. Perfect voice. Um, Ultron himself, we'll get into him in a little bit. I feel like there were a little too many characters and subplots going on, and there was an underdevelopment of characters, specifically Ultron, bro, and the Maximoff twins. Actually, Ultron felt like too much like Tony in this movie, and less like his comic book part. Um, I, I mean, I'm not a huge proponent of the idea that superhero movies have to be 100% source material, but Ultron would have just been so much better if he was source material. This movie kind of dumbed him down a little bit. I mean, he was still badass, but Speaking of humor was not it. I feel like there were way too many plot holes and inconsistencies. Like for instance, how fast Witch was forgiven. So, just it was just an alright movie in my opinion. Um, Next is Black Widow. So where am I gonna put Black? I don't know, bruh. I think Black Widow was pretty mid. I don't know. It was just all right, I guess. Nah, it's in mid. No, it's just all right. I'm sorry, I keep changing my mind. So the action sequences, the hand-to-hand combat were good. I feel like there was a lot of good depth to Natasha's story. She's one of the characters that we learn. I mean, we learn quite a bit about from the main movies she's in, but she's still a side character, and having a movie about her was pretty cool, actually. So I do like that. I mean, I do think this movie had to kind of, it's cool that it exists. That being said, though, the plot was kind of generic, predictable. The villain, Dreykov, he was underdeveloped. The pacing, especially in the third act, like it has weaknesses. Taskmaster was a letdown, bro. Like he was a letdown in this movie. I also feel like this movie came out a little late, as Natasha, like she already died in Endgame. So what's the point of releasing a movie about a character's backstory if they've already died? It's like I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not gonna take off a lot of points for that. It's not like it really matters. You could pretend like it was made before. Who cares? Um, but it was just all right. The action sequences saved this movie from being mid. Um, I can't bring myself to say that this is an Ant Man and the Wasp level movie though. So, and now we get into the Blade movies. Oh my God, Jesus. Okay. Let me just say this right now. The Blade trilogy is among my favorite in all of superhero fiction, but even I admit, as many diehard Blade fans do, the movies suck. I mean, no, I think Blade One and actually Blade Two is good, but I'll get into that. Okay, so I first watched Blade, God, like 7 years ago, and I was really hooked to its like dark, stylistic, gritty tone and the action. Um, Wesley Snipes is an amazing Blade. It was a very good blend of horror action and like a comic book story. I feel like I was really attached to this movie because of how different it was and how cool it was. But now that I come back to it, I do admit the plot and character development was just very thin. There wasn't a whole lot of it. It was very predictable. Um, I feel like this movie is just kind of generic a little bit. I mean, it's not generic, but it's just not the best that it could have been. And I'm honestly gonna put Blade One in mid. Um, I love it though, and I almost want to put in So Bad It's Good, but it's just not bad. I don't know. It's hard for me. Blade Two though, I really do like Blade Two. Guillermo del Toro's direction was amazing in this movie. The action was definitely taken like an amp up. And there was some added diversity to the plot, like with the new vampire strains. Um, that being said, though, the plot was not cohesive at all, and the script and character development, like the first movie, just sucked. I do think it was a step up from Blade One, and so I'm gonna put it in just alright. I think that is the highest ranking a Blade movie has ever received on any tier list ever. So my Blade fans in the comments, you know what? I'm your new messiah. I am your messiah for this fucking trilogy. And then Blade 3, I'm sorry, but I can't defend this movie. It is garbage. This is honestly a trash movie. It might even be dog shit. So formulaic plot, bad direction from God. Who directed David Goyer? I believe that was his name. I believe he directed this. The acting was just terrible. The worst acting of the trilogy, bar none. I am of the opinion that Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel were not needed for this fucking movie, and they actually kind of overshadowed Blade in some parts. Like I did not come to watch a movie about Hannibal King and Abigail, whatever the fuck, I forgot her name. This movie is way campier, by the way, than the other movies. I will admit, this movie had a lot of onset issues. I'm not gonna. That's not an excuse, but it's an understanding. It's understanding for me as a Blade fan that yeah, okay, this movie had its issues, and I'm not gonna just sit here and say that everything here is because of the actors and the director. No, there were issues that this movie just inherited. Um, Positives though, I feel like Dracula was a cool add to the movie. He was fun, but I think this movie is just really trash. It's not dog shit. Actually, no, it is dog shit. I'm sorry. It's a step down from the other two, definitely. Um, so yeah, okay. Civil War, yeah. So Civil War, we're just gonna go up and put this in masterpiece. Is it creme de la creme? No, because it has some issues, but very compelling conflict. Amazing character development. Some of the greatest character development in like any Marvel movie ever, and I would argue, honestly, some of the best character development of like any superhero movie. Um, uh, some of the best choreographed action in the MCU is in this movie. Um, I mean, do I even have to mention the airport sequence? Like, come on, dude, come on. Um, the humor was amazing. It was genius. It was funny. This movie was very well paced for its runtime. I believe the runtime was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or so, sometime around there. Um, I think some characters didn't see a lot of, time, and they didn't see a lot of development, but that's to be expected with a movie like this. Um, the villain in this movie, Zero, a lot of people say that he was bad. Um, I'm of the impression that this movie didn't really have a villain because the characters in this movie, the reason they split was technically caused by Zero in a way, um, but their divisions were already there, right? I mean, they were just waiting for something like this to happen naturally, right? This Civil War was something that would have happened without Zero. Zero was just a catalyst. I think him being there doesn't really affect the movie at all. I mean, it's better that he is there though, in my opinion. So anyway, I think Civil War is a masterpiece. I love that I can go to this movie, and every time I watch it, I can look at Cap and I can look at Iron Man and I can say, wait, he has a point, but the other one also has a really good point. Every time I watch this movie, I question if Cap is really the right side, and if I switch to Iron Man, I question if he's really the right side, and I really can't get the decision behind my head. But this movie is a masterpiece. Um, Captain America: First Avenger. I feel like I'm kind of like Ant-Man on this one. I feel like there's been kind of revisionist on this movie. Like people, I am also gonna move Avengers to Amazing. I think that's pretty fair. I think there's a lot of revisionist approval of this movie because people are starting to see that this movie is not like campy and bad. It has its faults. Don't get me wrong, but who doesn't love Steve Rogers, bro? Like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Cap, right? I'm a big fan of Steve Rogers. And I'm a big fan of everything Captain America, and I feel like this movie was an amazing Captain America movie. Red Skull was a great villain. Hydra was, about as evil as they come. I don't know. Hydra was cool. The story was compelling, and it was an amazing origin story, and it leads to some points in the future. It's badass. This is honestly one of the most badass movies for me, because it literally just is Captain America running around and busting in Nazi skulls. So I'm not gonna lie, this movie's pretty bad. It's amazing. It's amazing, and the setup for Bucky is also really good. Um, well, it's not really a setup because you don't really know, but still, I have to give credit where credit's due. This movie's good. Um, okay, Winter Soldier's next. Oh boy, 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 boy. Winter Soldier, you are going in amazing. Oh, and you're going above Avengers. Oh no, 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 no. Avengers, yes. Um, okay, first of all, bro, the action sequences, particularly the hand-to-hand combat, fucking amazing, and they're also really realistic too. It was a lot of intensity, bro. You could tell Chris Evans was into this movie, bro. He delivers such a strong performance, bro. I would argue it's actually like maybe other than like Infinity War, this is probably my favorite Chris Evans Captain America performance. I don't know, that's just me. Um, I mean, dude, this movie just like, bro. Oh my god, there's so much to talk about. I mean, the introduction of Falcon, Sam Wilson, who by the way, God, Anthony Mackie, yeah, that's who plays him. Dude, he's an amazing Falcon. I love the bond that he has with Cap. The Winter Soldier, by the way, bro, one of the most badass characters in all of Marvel. Oh my god, who plays Winter Soldier? Sebastian Stan, I think. Sebastian Stan, amazing. He's intriguing. He's formidable. He's got a really good. He's oh my god. Winter Soldier is amazing in this movie. Black Widow's also really good in this movie. Um, God, I love Winter Soldier. I really do like Winter Soldier. I think it's an amazing movie. There's not really much contention there, so it's going there. Okay, next is Captain Marvel. So this is a pretty mid movie in my opinion. Um, so I think there was a lot of solid action, and the FX in this movie were really good. And I think Brie Larson played a pretty good Captain Marvel, and Sammy J was also amazing. Um, but it lacks a strong arc and emotional depth for the character. She feels kind of too OP, and honestly, yeah, she is OP. but she just lacks so many vulnerabilities. It's like there's no tension in this movie. There's zero stakes almost, and so it's hard to really follow and get on the edge of the seat, on the edge of your seat like you are with the rest of the Marvel movies, because it's a superhero story of the underdog and the villain, and you really don't know what's gonna happen. You want to see how it unfolds, but with Captain Marvel, it's just like, bro, she's overpowered. Like, come on, I also think the CGI was kind of subpar. I mean, I don't know. I like the '90s nostalgia a bit that they do, but I can't really see putting this anywhere but mid. It's just a mid movie, It's just kind of forgettable, and I have only watched this once, by the way. So yeah. Okay, X-Men. Okay, X-Men 1. So I'm gonna put X-Men 1 in. Bro, honestly, I'm gonna move Avengers Age of Ultron and then Not Bad Kid, because I don't think it's like Blade. I don't think it's Blade 2 level. I don't think Blade 2 is, I don't, I'm not really of that belief. I think X-Men is just all right. It's the top of just all right. I also think Blade 2 is better than Black Widow. Sorry. So okay, where do we start? Wolverine, Professor X, Magneto. Again, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine was amazing. It's what made us fall in love with his character. Um, Very good thematic depth. Very faithful to the comics, by the way. The action and the special effects were amazing. Good pacing. There was a large ensemble with like no real overwhelming nature to it. And it really did bring a resurgence of superhero movies at the time. Then again, though, Storm and Cyclops, other side characters were underdeveloped. I feel like the plot was really shallow, especially in the climax, which was like it's really important for your movie to be like, entertaining and high stakes at the climax. And this movie just didn't really have that for me. Um, I also think Rogue's character was quite a disappointment, which is sad. I think X2 just does X-Men better in a lot of ways, or some ways. Not drastically, but I think X-Men is just alright. It doesn't really crack. Not Bad Kid. But yeah, I think that's a fair place to put that. Next is Daredevil. I think, yeah, no, Daredevil's next, right? Okay. So, this is the 2000 and, God, I don't even know, 2001, 2003 maybe. I think it's 2003. It's a garbage movie. I'm sorry. I mean, it's actually amazing that the TV show is good, because otherwise a lot of people would not be into Daredevil. He's one of one of the coolest characters in Marvel superhero fiction. But this movie just doesn't do him justice at all. It's got a really disjointed narrative, inconsistent tone. It's got a very bad script, horrible pacing. The acting is mid, by the way. Garbage, not good acting. I think Ben Affleck was like a good Daredevil, but he just wasn't convincing enough. The relationship with Elektra was like, eh. Bullseye was pretty good though. I think this is just a bad movie with some good aspects. That's kind of how I see Daredevil 2003. It's going to trash. I think I'd rather watch Daredevil than Fantastic Four though. So it's at the top of trash, but it's still in the trash can. It's not at the cusp of leaving the trash. I mean, it's at the cusp of leaving the trash can, but it's still in the trash can. So there we go. Okay, Deadpool. I think Deadpool's just all right movie. Actually, no, Deadpool's like a Not Bad Kid movie in my opinion. It's I actually think it's better than all of these movies. I think I'd rather watch Deadpool than any of this. So it's got amazing humor and great action sequences. Ryan Reynolds is perfect. It's got a very unique origin story through the flashbacks, which was really tough. But the plot was kind of generic, and the humor, it's not for everybody. It's for me, though. I like the humor. But I have to recognize that sometimes it can fall flat, and maybe it doesn't age very well, but I think it's pretty good. It's going to Not Bad Kid. Okay, Deadpool 2 is just, in my opinion, Deadpool 1, but better. I think Deadpool 2 is like actually like a good movie. Um, I think it's like kind of just here though. Also, I do think, yeah, okay, Deadpool 2 is, yeah, okay, there. Um, it's funnier, more action packed. There's more depth to Deadpool. There's occasional pacing issues, and I think the handling of supporting characters was meh. But like, this movie's just better. It's just better, and I have to give it credit. So good movie. Um, what's next? Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a good movie. I don't think there's much debate there. I think it's better than Black Panther. It's probably actually better than Captain America 2. Um, visually stunning. The special effects were amazing with like the reality bending sequences. It's very innovative. Benedict Cumberbatch is a fucking great Strange. I mean, as always, or not as always, but I mean throughout the series is amazing. He's got a really compelling transformation from like this, you know, his stubborn surgeon self to Sorcerer Supreme. The humor was good. A lot of good themes, like humility and depth in this movie. God, the villain, bro. I forget the villain. He starts with like a Caecilius. Caecilius. I forget how you say his name. He was underwhelming though. Um, I remember there's like a controversy when this movie came out about how they had like a white girl play the ancient one who's traditionally Tibetan. I don't really give a fuck about that. I do think I mean, it's like whatever, but like I think this movie got accused of whitewashing, and so a lot of people tried to downplay it, but it's actually a pretty good movie. I think it's top a good movie. Electra, yeah, the shit is like garbage. It is garbage. There isn't really much of a reason to watch this. Electra's a spinoff to Daredevil. It's got a horrible script. It's got a horrible story. It's very tone deaf. It's generic. It's predictable. It's hard to follow, especially for people who aren't familiar with her in the comics. Like, if you didn't ever read her comics, which I didn't read her comics, right? I only knew her through Daredevil and her movie. So it was very hard to follow. It's got slow pacing. The villains were just not good. Bad CGI. I did like Stick though, and I thought Jennifer Gardner was like pretty good as Elektra. Um, but it's just not a good movie. It's dog shit. It's dog shit. Yeah. Okay. Heavy hitter, Infinity War. Where am I putting Infinity War? You ask. Oh, that's right. Masterpiece. Wait, why is it not in creme de la creme? Well, because is this considered one of the greatest movies of all time? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, is it an IMDb's top 250? I don't know. Maybe later. Maybe I'll put it up there later. Um, okay, this film's like ability to seamlessly bring together like a massive ensemble of characters from various MCU films and juggle multiple storylines while maintaining a coherent narrative is like actually fucking amazing. It's like an unprecedented cinematic achievement in my opinion. Thanos is fucking a major highlight. Um, he was understandable. You know, you could actually get by with what he was saying, kind of. Um, the CGI was amazing. The special effects, the fight scenes, bro. It's just, bro. This film like pairs characters so cleverly. Like, there's a lot of entertaining interactions, like Thor meeting the Guardians of the Galaxies, or the dynamic between Iron Man and Strange. Bro, this movie just has so much going for it. Like, I mean, if you watch this movie, then you already know why it's good. So I don't have to sit here and explain it to you. But if you haven't watched Infinity War, you need to go watch that. You need to go watch the Marvel movies, and you need to watch Infinity War, bro. I don't know what the fuck you've been doing. Um. Uh. mm. Next is Endgame. Next is Endgame. Um, is Endgame better than Infinity War? That's a question that I don't know if I can really answer. I think both movies are amazing. I really do think both of the movies are amazing. Um, fitting. It's got a lot of fitting ends, like Stark, Steve. It's very ambitious. It's got a good balancing of storylines. The final battle was like top 10 payoffs to a movie series buildup of all time. Um, there's a lot of emotional depth. Very, very strong performances. It's got good humor. The pacing can be slow in the first act, but it really does pick up. There's some plot holes, like the whole like time travel thing, and I think there's a little too much fan service in this movie. But honestly, they have a right to do a lot like fan service because this is the last movie for a lot of characters. Like, this is the time to do that, you know. This is a masterpiece, bro. I have a hard time thinking otherwise. Um, but this next movie is not. Fantastic or Fantastic Four, whatever. Um, this movie is just bad. It's just trash. Um, it's generic. It's poorly executed. There's like the storylines just suck. I feel like it's too serious at times as well. Like there's like bad relationships between the four. There's like almost no chemistry. It feels like. And Doctor Doom's betrayal, bro, in this movie was just bad, bro. He has no clear motivations at all. The acting was bad. The pacing was bad. I'm having a hard time saying anything good about this movie. I think the Silver Surfer was better, but not by a whole lot. So, actually, this movie's dog shit. I'm sorry, it's dog shit. Um, so next is the Fantastic Four. This is a trash movie, bro. I'm sorry, but my Fantastic Four fans, like, you guys just don't have any good movies. I'm sorry. Um, Weak plot, bad pacing, bad acting. Doctor Doom sucks again in this movie. Like, how do you get it wrong 3 times in a row, bro? The humor was like awkward, and it's actually like laughably hard to watch. The visuals were not good at all. I like Ben Grimes in this movie though. I feel like his struggles were really like they were good. Like he was Ben Grimes in this movie. I liked him. Um, I this is the first Fantastic Four movie, and I understand how hard it is to introduce a whole cast of characters like out of nowhere. Um, I get it. You know, it's hard to get all the complexities of people from comic books that have been established over years into one movie. Um, but we've seen it been done. We've seen it been done in other movies before, perfectly, and so there's no excuse for the Fantastic Four. I'm having a hard time having sympathy for this movie. Um, it's just not good. I'm sorry. Okay, so these next two movies are our first entries in So Bad It's Good. Both Ghost Rider movies with Nicolas Cage. Um, I'm sorry. I've heard a lot about Ghost Rider. I've heard rumors that it's actually gonna get rebooted, or not necessarily rebooted, but it's gonna have another movie in the MCU, and it's gonna involve other MCU characters or whatever. He's gonna be part of the new phases of the MCU. If it's not Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider, or Johnny Blaze, it's just not for me. I'm probably not gonna be watching the movie if it's not Nicolas Cage, low key. He made these movies for me. If it was not Nicolas Cage, these movies would just be dog shits, dude. I'm sorry. I'm gonna speak about both of them because they kind of have the same thing going. I like the visuals a lot. Nicholas as Johnny Blaze was fucking rad. There was no character development though, and the villains were sucky. These movies were so campy. Um, Specifically the second one, Spirit of Vengeance. Bro, that movie sucked, bro. Horrible script. CGI was actually pretty bad. Cage's performance was good again, but the plot relied a lot on cliches, and it was just, bro. This movie was just nonsense, bro. It was just absolute nonsense. Like, I mean, I know the directors were having a fucking laugh when they made this fucking movie. They had to know how bad it was, but they also this movie is definitely like I get a lot of Batman and Robin vibes. I get a lot of like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze vibes, you know, from these movies. These are movies that I will probably watch if they're on TV or if someone's already watching it. I'm gonna be like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna try to watch Nicolas Cage's Johnny Blaze again. I've seen these movies like 10 times. I've seen the first one like 10 times. I've seen the second one like twice, 3 times maybe. But I've seen it enough to know that it's pretty dog shit. So it's, you know what, these movies are lucky they're here because Nicolas Cage saves them. Um, Okay, the Guardians movies are next. I'm gonna just rank them all right now. So Guardians 1 is a good movie. It's top of good. Or actually, it's amazing. Okay, Guardians 2 is also amazing. Hold on. Guardians 2 is at the top of good movie. It's at the very top of good movie. And Guardians 3 is at the top of, or not at the top, but I think Guardians actually no, Guardians 3 is the top of amazing. Why is it not a masterpiece, do you ask? Okay. So Guardians 1 introduction to all these characters that nobody really knew or care about beforehand. And they did it masterfully. The story was amazing. The interactions between the characters were amazing. There was amazing character development, compelling. Uh, the humor was spot on. I feel like I do blame Guardians for modern MCU humor, though. I feel like MCU movies have normalized the idea of having humor before everything else because of the Guardians movies. Does that make me dislike them? No, actually, I love these movies. Um, so that's Guardians 1. Guardians 2, I felt like was a kind of a step down a little bit, but it was still amazing. It was still a good movie. I felt like there was some plot holes, and I think the relationship between him and his dad was, yeah, there was some contingencies there, but the action was great. CGI was great. Humor was amazing. Everything I liked about the first movies in this movie kind of stepped down a little bit, but it wasn't bad at all. Um, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is just amazing. This is one of the only Marvel superhero movies, actually, that I've ever cried to. And I'm not afraid to admit that. It's amazing. Watch it yourself. There's a lot to love about this movie, there's a lot to appreciate. I'm not going to spoil it because I really do feel like you guys, you know what? This movie, you guys need to watch Volume 3, okay? Um, but yeah, the Guardians ranking is typically one or three, then two, or three, then one, then two from best to worst. But two is by no means a bad movie at all. Um, okay, the Iron Man movies, another heavy hitter here. Iron Man 1, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Iron Man 1 is like a masterpiece, in my opinion. Okay, I'm putting Civil War above Endgame and Iron Man before Endgame. Okay, in my opinion, just my opinion. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. Endgame is a little better than Civil War. Um, so it's the foundational pillar for the MCU. Robert Downey Jr. was amazing, engaging development, good action, good humor, good drama. The visual effects were amazing. The villain was like, eh, but it's like whatever, bro. This movie's badass. It's tough. Foundational pillar, revolutionary, amazing. Gotta love it. Iron Man 1 is amazing. Iron Man 2 is a good movie. It's at the bottom though, I think. I think Iron Man 2 is a step down from Iron Man 1. Um, there was good action. It set up the Avengers obviously. Don Cheadle was definitely a better War Machine than Terrence was. But this movie felt kind of rushed. Um, oh, sorry. Whiplash and Jackhammer were underused. Actually, they were underused. The romance subplot was forced. Um, gosh, bro, this movie just felt like a step down. It felt like the directors or the people who were on making this movie were not on their A game like they were with Iron Man 1. Um, moving on to Iron Man 3. This movie was worse. It's just Iron Man 2, but worse. I honestly think this is just an alright movie. It's definitely better than these movies, though, I'm going to be honest with you. So, yeah, okay, that's pretty fair. Um, so this movie focuses more on Tony's character and his struggles with PTSD, which I agree with. Okay, don't get me wrong. I agree with this movie. Okay, um, but it's just God, bro. This movie's just such a step down, bro. The Mandarin sucked, bro. I'm sorry, bro. It just sucked, and I know they tried to do the whole like, oh, but it really was. It's just I hate this movie. I don't hate it, but it was just all right. Bro. It's just It's worse, bro. It's worse, bro. I'm sorry. It's just not a good movie. Um, Next is Howard the Duck. Uh, Based off of the comic book, um, Marvel character Howard the Duck. There's not a lot to say about this fucking movie, bro. It's so bad it's good. It's such a dog shit movie. It's tonally inconsistent, bro. This movie tried to balance like adult themes with satire from the comic books, but it was just it like, turned out so awkward, bro. The plot was way too long, and it was sometimes dull and actually like incomprehensible. The climax was so lame. The acting was terrible. Fucking horrible dialogue, horrible jokes that dated horrible. The effects they're just so dated, and the costume, bro, it is literally just a dude in a duck suit, bro. It actually takes away from the movie so much because the entire time you're watching it, you're like, this is literally just a random guy in a fucking duck costume. Like it's actually just so nah. But it is a so bad it's good movie because there are things I like about it. I think it's like a fun watch. It's just like I can laugh at it how bad it is while watching it and like appreciate some moments, like the stop motion animation for the Dark Overlord was pretty good. A fun fact about this movie, it's not related or anything, but George Lucas. So the group that made this movie was the ILM graphics group. I think that's what it was called. But this movie did so bad, and George Lucas owned the ILM group, right? This movie did so bad in the box office that George Lucas sold the ILM group, and that group would later become Pixar, and so pretty much because of how bad Howard the Duck did, Pixar was created. So I mean, do what you will with that information. How we would not have Toy Story or any of those other movies without Howard the Duck. So, I guess do what you want with that information. Okay, Logan is next. Yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and put Logan in masterpiece. I don't think there's a lot of debate there. Fucking amazing character development with Logan Wolverine. A very grounded approach. Hugh Jackman, amazing as always. I think Hugh Jackman is good in every movie that he's in. This movie draws heavy from the Western genre in like a post-apocalyptic setting. The fight sequences are intense and well choreographed. Some people said that this movie had slow pacing, but I think it was okay. I really like the story, bro. I really just like this movie. It is it's tied for my favorite X-Men movie of all time. I think it is the objectively best X-Men movie. You could make I like to compete this movie with another one that I'll get into later, but we'll see. And then we have Punisher Warzone. Yeah, this is Warzone. So what do I have to say about Warzone, bro? It's honestly pretty mid. The visuals are good. It's got a very good tone, and it's also lower accurate to the Punisher. I think Ray Stevenson is a very good Frank Castle. He has like this sense of nihilism about him and imposing nature, but the film was just too campy for me. It has a weak script and very bad dialogue. I feel like Jigsaw and Looney Bin Jim were just shallow and they were cartoonish. There's a lot about this movie. It just feels out of place for a Punisher movie, for this kind of Punisher movie too, which is trying to be dark and gritty and all that. It just doesn't really fit. So I mean I kind of get lost with this movie. It's not trash, but it's mid. You know, it is mid. I think it's actually I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is. I would rather watch Warzone than Ant-Man and the Wasp, bro. I'm being dead ass with you. So yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Yo, sorry for that weird cut there. I just realized like mid recording that I was only recording like half of my screen. I'm an idiot, bro. Uh, so yeah, this is full screen. Sorry for that weird cut there, but let's go back into the video. Um, so the next movie. So we're getting the Spider-Man movies now. I think. Yeah, some of them are a little out of order, but I can't be bothered to move them. Okay, so Spider-Man 1. This is the Tobey Maguire series. So these are honestly like like really good for comic book movies. Like Toby's like natural portrayal of Peter was like amazing. I think um for me personally, I think Tobey Maguire is like my personal favorite Spider-Man. Is he the best? No. But I mean, I thought he was good in the first movie. Um, Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin was amazing. One of my favorite portrayals of a villain ever. I really do like Willem Dafoe. Um, the action scenes were like state of the art, especially for the time. Some of the CGI was a little bad. I do. Green Goblin looked like a Power Ranger. Yeah, it was a little weird, but and the dialogue was kind of mid. This movie gets memed a lot because it's just the dialogue is like not it. Um, and like some of the interactions between the characters are just off. They feel off, you know. But I like the cartoony elements as to all of these the Tobey Maguire trilogy, so I'm not gonna diss it too much. I think Spider-Man 1 was a good movie. I think it was a good movie. Um, Let me actually just sort this out real quick. Actually, I think that's a pretty fair ranking. I'm not gonna lie. I think Iron Man 2 is actually better than. Yeah, that's pretty fair, I think. Okay, Spider-Man 2 is next. Um, I think probably my favorite part about this movie is Doc Ock. He was a huge standout in this movie. He's very nuanced. I really do like his character. There was a lot of good character development for Peter. The action was very like well executed. It was thrilling. It was amazing. CGI like the first movie was kind of and I did not like Mary Jane in this movie. She was just meh for me, you know. Um, I think it's pretty much Spider-Man 1, but slightly better or slightly worse, and I'm actually just gonna put it in not bad kid. I think that's pretty fair. Okay. Spider-Man 3 is next. Yeah, I kind of have a lot to say about this one. So where do we begin? Overstuffed plot, bro. Way too many villains. I think there were too many villains in this movie. Um, Rushed storylines. Um, the director for this movie, Sam Raimi, he didn't want Venom in it, but he was like pretty much pressured by Sony to put Venom in the movie, and that caused a lot of problems. Venom as a character in the movie was just He had like an inconsistent tone, the pacing, and the length. Of this movie was very bad. Yeah, it's excessive. There were a lot of bad plot points and it's just a lot of bad plot points like Sandman killing Uncle Ben. That was just unnecessary. But I will give it points. The action was really good in this movie, and the CGI, especially for Sandman, was like amazing. And the CGI was definitely a step up from the other two movies. But it's definitely the weakest of the trilogy, and I'm actually just gonna put this in just alright at the bottom of just alright. I don't think there are gonna be too many people that disagree with me on that. It's definitely a little mid, but we'll keep it there. Okay, so next is Into the Spider Verse. Yeah, I think this is our first. Oh wait, is it though? I'm actually gonna put Infinity War and Creme de la Creme. I'm not gonna lie. I think I think these are both just perfect movies. Um, okay, the animation in this movie alone, like, actually is breathtaking. Mm, mm. The visuals, bro. The visuals. I love Miles Morales, bro. This movie had some of the best humor, like probably the best humor in any Spider-Man movie, other than the Across the Spider-Verse, which we'll talk about in a second. The action was just amazing, and the soundtrack. I haven't really talked a lot about soundtracks yet, and that's because most Marvel movies have a very similar soundtrack. Not that it's bad, but this movie just stands out as having a really good soundtrack. So, again, it's kind of like Infinity War. What hasn't already been said about this fucking movie? You know, it's a creme de la creme. There's no question. Is it better than Infinity War? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. If your movie is in creme de la creme, I really don't know if I can rank the movies themselves like between each other because they're all just so good. I think it's actually an oxymoron to do so. We want to appreciate what they were good for, not compare them to other movies up here. So I think this is pretty good. And then Across the Spider Verse is next. So this is pretty much just Into the Spider Verse, but like fucking better. Okay, I don't want to have both of them up here. I'm gonna put Into the Spider Verse as top of masterpiece, and this is creme de la creme in my opinion. It actually pushed the boundaries of animation so much, bro. This movie, fucking amazing story, amazing, like there are a lot of good themes in this movie. Amazing character development, a lot of good performances from the voice actors. Uh, some of the craziest action I've ever seen in a Marvel movie is in this. Obviously, it's animated, but that's also very impressive. The humor again just hits in this fucking movie. What hasn't been said about this movie already? I think maybe. Actually, no, no. I was gonna point out some things I disliked, but honestly, me disliking them does not it doesn't objectify anything. So this movie is creme de la creme. Sorry for those of you who are not a fan of the animated Spider-Man movies, but they're just better, bro. They're just better. Okay, next we get into the Far From Home. I guess is next. Wait, should I just rank? Did I already do the other Tom Holland? Okay, whatever, but it doesn't matter. Um, I really liked this movie, bro. It was fun. It was engaging. Tom Holland, he's amazing once again. I liked Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Thought his character was amazing. The chemistry between the characters was also really like noticeable. Like I could tell there was a lot of tension, bro. It felt like you were actually there. Like amazing action, amazing visuals, some of the best visuals I've ever seen in this movie. I like the plot twists. The CGI, I do okay. The CGI was a little over relied on though. I'm not gonna lie, but it makes sense because the whole plot is about Mysterio, um, uh, pretty much falsifying the attacks and making it seem like he's actually a hero and whatever. So CGI was kind of necessary, but eh. I also thought the drama in this movie was a little like too like teenage. It was a little like it was a little corny. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little like little stale. Um, but that's all good. It doesn't really matter for me. And I think this is actually gonna go in good movie. This is a good movie. I think it's about there. Uh, I high key like Homecoming more. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna do this. I think that's pretty fair. That's a pretty fair ranking, I think. Okay, the Garfield movies. Okay, so I said earlier I was gonna rank the Spider-Man actors from worst to best, or best to worst. Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man, in my opinion. There's not really a lot of debate on my half. I think he is actually like the best Spider-Man portrayal. And then it goes Tom Holland and oh, shoot, Andrew. Fuck, bro. How am I forgetting his name, bro? Um, Tobey Maguire. Yeah, Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland are battling it out for second place. I think they're pretty even. But Andrew Garfield, I think, is undisputably the best Spider-Man portrayal. Now, the Andrew Garfield movies are definitely the worst. But his portrayal is the best. So Spider-Man 1, it was, or The Amazing Spider-Man, I guess. Andrew Garfield was amazing as Peter. I think he nailed Peter's awkwardness, but also like his insane intelligence. I feel like Tobey Maguire didn't really get that, and Tom Holland certainly didn't get that. Tom Holland, bro, I'm sorry, but Tom Holland just, it doesn't feel like like that's Peter Parker, And same for Andrew Garfield though. Like Andrew Garfield is not a fucking teenage high school student, bro. That dude is like mid-20s, bro. So that was a little like, whatever, but still though. Emma Stone was really good as Gwen Stacy. The action was really impressive in this movie. I will say the Lizard was a weak villain, and the plot was really uninspired, and it was pretty predictable. I think this is like on par with. It's actually a little better than Spider-Man 3. I'm gonna put it here. I don't see. I'm actually gonna put Black Widow above Blade. Cause yeah, I'd rather watch Blade, but it's a better movie. It's actually probably better than no. Nah, and X-Men is better than Iron Man 2. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Um, this movie is actually better than Blade. It is better than Blade. But actually, no, this movie is better than Blade 2. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, but it just is. Um, anyway, I think that's pretty fair for it. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, this is probably the worst Spider-Man movie ever made. It's mid, bro. This movie's so mid. There were way too many plot lines, bro. You had like Electro, Goblin, Rhino. They hinted at like a larger Sinister Six setup. Bro, Electro and Rhino were like so underdeveloped, and they were actually like so cartoonish, bro. The motivations were really weak. I did like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone again. I'm not gonna, they were good, and the action was good. But like, bro, it's just this movie's just not good. It's just mid, bro. It's better than Warzone, and it's also nah. I say Captain Marvel's better. Um. Yeah. No. Blade's probably. Actually. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair in my opinion. I think that's pretty fair. Okay. Um. Okay. The Hulk movies. Oh, sorry, my Hulk fans, but I'm gonna diss on you a little bit. So this is Hulk 2003. God, bro. Oh my God. The pacing was so slow for this fucking movie, and the runtime was like actually excessive. Like, wait, it was longer than it needed to be. The CGI is just not good in this fucking movie, bro. Weak story, weak characters. The villain, what was his name, bro? Talbot, whatever his name was. He was just generic, bro. The dialogue was ass. Eric Bana as Bruce Banner was like pretty good, I guess. Though I'm not gonna lie, he was all right. Um, bro, I mean, one of the only things I could say about this movie is that Sam Elliott was a pretty good General Ross. Actually, he is the definitive General Ross. Um, I do think in some ways though this movie is a little bit ahead of its time. I think that a lot of the themes about this movie feel very like mid generation MCU. I think this movie just doesn't get a lot of credit because it is kind of ass. But I have to put some respect on its name. It is pretty mid though. It's at bottom of mid. Uh, I think that's pretty fair. Um, the Incredible Hulk is next, right? Yeah. Strong action, especially like the fight between Hulk and Abomination. Edward Norton was amazing as Bruce Banner, by the way. I actually think he was my favorite Bruce Banner. Maybe it's just because I like his character in other movies, so I just have an appreciation for him. But I feel like he really did nail Bruce Banner down. Um, Abomination was kind of underdeveloped, right? I did like Tim Roth as Abomination, but I don't know. The script and dialogue was fucking bland as hell. There's way too much CGI. Like, there were just things about this movie that are slightly better than the original Hulk, but this movie, I'm just gonna put Hulk in top of trash, um, so that it makes a little more sense. I do like this movie more than I like. Um, oh no, I don't. No, it's definitely here. Actually, I like it more than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty fair, I think. Um, what's next? The New Mutants. Okay. Mm. This is one of the only movies on this list that I have not watched. And before I watched this, or before I recorded this video, I went through each movie and I was like, have I watched this? Have I not watched this? And I was debating whether or not I should make a tier for haven't watched movies. But because I've seen like every movie on this list, and this was like the only one I hadn't watched, I was like, there's no reason to make a whole tier. So I did some research on this movie. Surprise, surprise, it's fucking dog shit. Nobody fucking likes it. I tried to watch a review, but I was just so uninterested in this fucking movie. Um, it was pretty much everything about these three movies that I disliked, or yeah, that I disliked in this one, but it's like more modern, and I guess the action is a little better. But I honestly just think this movie's dog shit. You know what? Yeah, for all my New Mutant fans, you can cry about how I didn't watch this movie and how I shouldn't rank it or whatever, but I don't really give a fuck. This is bottom of dog shit. I haven't watched it, so I'm gonna put it at top of dog shit. Blade Trinity has more respect for me though, because Blade is like cooler than whatever the fuck these people were. So yeah, that's pretty fair, I think. Next is the Punisher, um, played by I believe Thomas Hates. I think that was his name. I don't know his last name. Might not have been that. I don't remember. His performance was really good though. I do think that, and there was some character development, but it had a slow pacing to it. The plot was weak. Excuse me. There were underdeveloped characters, bad acting. The comedy was bad in this movie. It was like bad. There was not really much of a need to have comedy in a movie like this. Oh, um, so I don't know. It's just like, where do I put this? Is it as bad as, is it like Warzone? I think Warzone is actually worse than this movie though, and I'm gonna put Punisher like right here. I think that's pretty fair for these movies. Okay, next is the Wolverine. Uh, so okay. Also, this is the 3D version, I guess. I've watched this movie in 3D, and it's actually pretty cool. It's actually worth to watch this movie in 3D, because I thought that was pretty cool. But besides that, this was a really compelling and like layered portrayal of Wolverine. There's a lot of good character development. The setting and the tone was really cool. It was really unique. This movie was very well choreographed. There was a lot of impactful action, but the pacing was really bad. Again, this takes place in Japan, right? The villains, God, I'm trying to remember. Viper and the samurai, Silver Samurai. Yeah, I did not think that they were very well developed on. Did they have to be though? Is a question, and I guess you could make the argument that it doesn't really matter, but mm, I don't know. I feel like they could have done more with those characters. The setting alone though, like I do actually think this is a not bad kid movie. Um, it's not as good as X2, and it's definitely like at the bottom. It's no, I'd rather watch Ant Man than this shit. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I think that's pretty fair for it. What's next? Thor. Okay. So a lot of people feel like Thor was kind of just all right, Um, but I feel like Thor was actually a pretty good movie, and I feel like as this movie ages, we're gonna start to say like, oh my god, that movie actually was pretty good. It was pretty good for its time, and I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. Strong cast, strong performances, visually stunning. This is our first introduction to Asgard. Beautiful. Um, One of the best ways they could have done an origin story for Thor is by having him pretty much start from rock bottom, and I really liked how they did this movie. I think the plot was a little predictable though, and the CGI was like inconsistent. But I do like the fight scenes in this movie. There's some bad. Chris Hemsworth is amazing as Thor. You can't change my mind on that. And this is before they dumbed Thor down like intensely. Like this is when Thor actually felt kind of like Thor. I really did like Thor in this movie, so I'm gonna keep Thor in not bad kid. He goes right here. I think that's pretty fair for Thor. Okay, next is what? Oh yeah, Thor: Dark World, bruh. Bro, this movie's like actually trash, bruh. It is actually so dog shit. Um, Garbage movie, bad villain. Who the fuck was this villain in the movie? Oh my god, bro, I forgot his name. Malekith. Yes, Malekith. Most generic plot ever, bro. Jane Foster was just underdeveloped in this movie. And there were tons of plot holes, bro. It's like there's no stakes, bro. I mean, yeah, it's the Dark Elves, right? But like, bro, like, who cares, bro? None of what happened in this fucking movie ever gets brought up ever again, right? And there's just so little development for these characters that like you don't even think about this movie after. There's no point to watch this movie. You could go from Thor to Thor Ragnarok, or just from Thor to Thor Ragnarok, and you would not even you could know that this movie never existed, right? You could fucking forget about it. This movie didn't exist pretty much. This movie sucks. It's dog shit. It's trash. Is it? Blade Trinity is a bad movie because it's a bad movie and also because production was bad. This movie at least had some good production, and I'll give it that. And so I'm actually gonna put Thor: Dark World at the top of trash. Um, I'm gonna put it right there, but it was really fucking forgettable. I don't really have anything nice to say about this movie. We're gonna keep it there. Um, Next is Ragnarok. Oh, Yeah, Ragnarok is like a masterpiece. I don't know if there's a lot of debate there. Ragnarok goes right there. Um, so this movie is guilty of one thing, and I think it's what Guardians is also guilty of, and that's it dumbed the MCU down quite a bit. This movie has so much humor in it, and the humor in this movie is really good. It's like really good. Like I don't think I've laughed at a Marvel movie, more than this, than Ragnarok. But it set a precedent where every Marvel movie has to be fucking funny now, and some movies are prioritizing humor over everything else, and it's just not how it's supposed to be. Um, Thor, especially after this film, just gets dumbed down a lot. But in Ragnarok, he's amazing. I love Hela, bro. She's an amazing villain. Hulk was good in this movie. Valkyrie was really good in this movie. I like Loki. I love Loki in this movie. Um, Ian McCall, whatever. Who does he play? I forgot his character, but I loved his character too. Um, and this movie was amazing. It really is amazing. Uh, Not much else to say that hasn't already been said about Ragnarok, but yeah, this is a masterpiece. Um, Next is Venom. Venom is a pretty just alright movie, I think. I think it's just alright. Um, I think Venom's actually above Black Widow, though. I think it's probably also above Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3. Um, the plot was really weak and it was generic. It felt uninspired, bro. Riot was just a bland villain, bro. The final fight was also kind of bad, which sucked because, I mean, it shouldn't be bad. The romance between Eddie and Anne was just fucking forced, and the pacing was horrible, bro. This movie is just, eh. I mean, I like Eddie Brock, bro. I like his portrayal of Eddie Brock, but it just doesn't do it for me, bro. This is just an all right movie. Um, After Venom, we have X-Men: The Last Stand. Oh boy. So, bro, I don't even remember. God, I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm remembering this movie a little bit. Um, this movie had some good action and special effects, and I really do like the main cast of this movie. But other than that, I don't really have a lot to say about this movie. Excuse me. Cyclops, Storm, and Rogue were just so sidelined. And Angel and Beast were not given enough screen time in this fucking movie. Um, and early on in the movie, they kill off Cyclops and Professor X, and I feel like that was done way more for shock value than anything else. Especially Cyclops, bro. Like, shit did not have to happen. Um, I don't know. I feel like there was just a lot about this movie that I disliked. I don't feel like it was a very good X-Men movie. It wasn't forgettable though. I honestly think it's a pretty mid movie though. Um, I'm gonna put it in just alright. The only reason I'm doing that, by the way, mind you, is because there are X-Men movies that are way worse than this one. And for me to compare this to those is just not reasonable. So I'm gonna put it at the bottom of just alright. But just barely though. Um okay, yeah. The next is X-Men Apocalypse, bro. Oh my god. Fucking horrible villain, underwhelming villain, bro. Bad pacing, fucking convoluted ass plot for no reason, bro. Mystique, Psylocke, and Angel were very underdeveloped and underutilized, bro. I will admit the action and the special effects were good, but overall, bro, this movie was just so mid. It's just so fucking mid. Is it trash? It low key might be trash, bro. I'm gonna put it at bottom of. No, it's trash. It's top of trash, bro. This movie's so garbage. It's trash. I don't really have much of a problem putting it there. Um, what's next? Okay, X-Men Dark Phoenix. Who rushed and underdeveloped is the best way I can explain this fucking movie, bro. Alien antagonists were fucking bland in this movie, bro. Like, they didn't really make much sense to me. They were kind of generic, inconsistent tone. I did like Professor X and Magneto, though. They were pretty good, and they were kind of a saving grace for this movie. But I feel like this movie was just such a disappointment for the Dark Phoenix saga. Honestly, this is just a very mid movie. I actually think it's slightly better than Apocalypse, but it's not much better at all. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair summation. So next, I think we have uh, Days of Future Past, X-Men Days of Future Past. Okay, um, where am I gonna put this? Ooh. I think the strongest thing about this movie is the action. Okay, I think this actually has some of the best action of any X-Men movie out there, um, with maybe like one exception. um, the special effects were amazing. I like the tone of this movie a lot more than I do the previous X-Men movies. It's very serious, right? But it's just a balanced tone, right? It's not just a dark, um, kind of depressing movie. I don't think X-Men movies should be depressing. I mean, I don't know. This movie does a really good job at balancing it. A lot of people give this movie shit because, um, it's kind of like one of the forgotten X-Men movies. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I haven't watched Days of Future Past in like 6 years or so, so I'm going off the top of my head. And I did some research on this movie before I made this video, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Uh, I think this movie gets a little too much hate. I don't really think it's all too deserved. I think it's actually a pretty good movie. Is it an actual good movie though? No. I would say that it's probably better than Ant Man. Also, I'm gonna put Ultron above like all of these because I don't think it's fair that Thor is better than Ultron. That's just not true, right? Spider-Man 2 is not better than Ultron. And so we're gonna just keep this here. But anyway, back to Days of Future Past. It's for an X-Men movie. It's okay. It's good. It's not the best, but it's not bad at all. So I think that's a pretty good spot for it. And next is First Class. So First Class is my favorite X-Men movie. I actually genuinely think that this is a masterpiece of a movie. Um, God, I'm actually gonna put Endgame at. Oh, do I? I kind of want to. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put it in creme de la creme. If this gets crowded, which I doubt it will, then I'm gonna move this down. But I don't want Masterpiece to just be filled to the brim. Um, but First Class is genuinely one of the best X-Men movies out there. I think I've watched a couple tier lists on the X-Men movies, and people have First Class either in the middle or they'll have it kind of to the top, but it's not. It usually gets beat out. And I understand that. I don't understand people who say this movie's bad or terrible even, because yeah, I mean I get it. Having all of these X-Men movies take place at in the same time frame, and then you go back to the 60s is, some people might have that off-putting back then, but this is like one of the best origin story movies ever. And usually what you see with good origin story movies is it's just one person, right? It's hard to do an origin story with just one person, but this movie does an origin story for Professor X, Magneto, Beast, Mystique. Trying to remember who else. Um, there were a bunch of other characters, but this movie did a really good job at showing how, um, uh, God, origin for the X-Men, but also the Brotherhood of Mutants. Um, Very strong cast with McAvoy and oh my God, Michael's last name I forget. Fassbender, yeah, Fassbender. Yeah, the cast in this movie is amazing. The acting is great. Um, when I first watched this movie, I had no idea who was in it, and then all these freaking amazing actors that are like, why are they in this movie? But yeah, some of the best action sequences in any X-Men movie. There were some really good visual effects in this movie, bro. Um, I think on some downsides, Emma Frost was a little underdeveloped. She was kind of just a bland villain who, by the end of the movie, is with Magneto. It's like, how did that happen? Um, I think probably one of my favorite things about this movie was Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw. That was pretty fucking cool. Kevin Bacon just is naturally a good bad guy in movies, and so having him play was like amazing. He was amazing in this movie. Um, I like the very end when you see the switch between Magneto and Professor X and why they disagree, how they just started to disagree, and how Professor X got disabled. But that whole thing was so well done. I love that. Um, Geez, this movie is amazing. It really is a masterpiece in my opinion. It has its flaws. Not don't get me wrong. It's not creme de la creme, but it is a masterpiece. So I think that's pretty fair. X Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah, this is a dog shit movie, and I don't think anyone will ever disagree with me when I say that this movie sucks. Is it? Nah, it's definitely like Blade Trinity level. Horrible script, horrible plot. They had a horrible handling of some characters like Deadpool, Gambit, and John Wrath were like super underutilized, bro. The visual effects were just so bad. This movie's just bad. It's just a bad movie with a bad script, bad characters, bad acting. Um, the dialogue was mid. Actually, I don't want to say bad acting because, some people in this movie do have good performances, but it doesn't carry it, and this movie's still dog shit. So that's going there. Next is Quantumania. It's not really much to say about this one. It sucks because for the longest time I really did like this movie, but as I've rewatched it over time, I've realized that it just isn't good. I don't know if it's trash. I really don't. I think it's I think Quantumania is better than Ant Man and the Wasp. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. It had a very weak plot. It tried like juggling three story plots at the same time, with Scott and Cassie's relationship, Janet's guilt over Kang, and then the quantum realms like struggle to overthrow Kang. Yeah, that was all mid. The CGI in this movie was like, it was like, Sometimes it was, but sometimes it was really good though. I have to give it credit. Sometimes it was really good. I'd rather watch Quantumania again than I would Ant Man and the Wasp, because the villain in Ant Man and the Wasp was not inspired at all. At least Kang was cool. I'm gonna put Ant Man and the Wasp with trash. Yeah, honestly, I think that's pretty fair. Um, Also, Thor: Dark World is going in dog shit. I don't think there are gonna be many people that disagree with me on that. Okay. Um, Next is Shang-Chi. Uh, it's weird because I know a lot of people who've never heard of this movie or have just never watched it, and they have no idea what they're missing out on. Like, this is genuinely one of the best modern Marvel movies out there, and it's kind of unknown. Not unknown, but compared to other movies that have come out recently, it's just not as watched. My favorite thing about this movie was definitely the fight choreography. I don't really think. Actually, yeah, the fight choreography was amazing. The action was very good. I really liked that Mandarin in this movie. Finally, there's a Marvel movie that can get the Mandarin right. Um, the visuals were stunning, especially in the land of Talo. It's Talo, something like that. Um, I think what I most appreciate about this movie though is it expanded the MCU I mean, not quite a bit, but it expanded it. I mean, we had been getting movies about kind of the same characters over and over again, and it was still continuing. I know Marvel made a promise that after Endgame, that the whole Thanos Avengers saga wouldn't be important, or at least it wouldn't be as expanded on, or whatever. We would have room for more movies to come out with more universes and different characters, and like Shang-Chi is a great example of them branching out, and I really hope that Marvel does more movies like Shang-Chi, because that's what Marvel needs, bro. It doesn't need more movies about the same characters, okay? And that's one of my problems with the Captain America Brave New World movie. It's not because I dislike Sam Elliott, okay? That's has nothing to do with it. It's just I don't really care about Captain America anymore. Even if uh God, bro, who played Captain America? I completely forgot, dude. Dude, I low-key completely forgot. I don't remember his name. Um, but I think that you know, even if it was the same, I forgot the dude's name. Um, it just wouldn't be the same. Even if it was Steve Rogers, it wouldn't be the same. You know, um, so I think we need more movies like Shang Chi. Uh, so yeah, I think that's pretty fair for him to be an amazing. Um, Also, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and go watch Shang Chi. Definitely recommend. And then next, okay, so we are finally getting into some DC movies. I think this is our first DC movie on the entire list, uh, which is cool because I personally, okay, I personally like DC more than I do Marvel. I have to admit, DC movies suck. Like I'm about to go on like a speed run of ranking these movies, and that's because a lot of them are just dog shit or just not it. You know, they're just not fun to watch, and that's why Marvel gets the edge over DC because they just make better movies. You know, 9 times out of 10, Marvel triumphs over DC, even though I think DC has more of a compelling cast of characters. Um, but aside from that, we're gonna just get into this with Catwoman. Um, so it's been a while since I've watched Catwoman, but I have to say, I do remember this movie being pretty fucking mid. I'm sorry, but the plot was so generic. It was very poor. It was just poorly developed. Catwoman lacked depth, which is crazy because she is one of the most interesting characters in DC, and for you to make her boring is like crazy. It really did. It failed to capture like the nature of the comic books. The fight scenes were really fun though. I did like the fight scenes in this movie. I like some of the interactions. It wasn't a terrible movie, but it's just actually it's gonna go in just all right, right behind Iron Man 3. I think that's pretty fair. I would rather watch Catwoman a second time than I would any of these other shit. Oh wait, but Blade. No, okay, we're good. We're good. Okay. Eternals is next. Oh, so this is Marvel again. Um, I have not heard anyone say a single good thing about this movie. Or if they do say a good thing, it's after they ranted about how dog shit this movie was. So, the plot was convoluted, lacked depth, bro. The deviants were just like uninteresting. The flashbacks were so lame. The runtime was like too long for the fucking plot. Um, it had like a bad tone, and the humor was just off, bro. It just didn't. This movie didn't feel like it didn't. It wasn't good. It just wasn't a good movie. Um, I'm honestly gonna put Eternals in like trash. I think that's pretty fair. I'm also gonna move. No, actually, no, no. We'll keep Eternals there. Yeah. What's next? Batman. This is the 1960s Adam West Batman movie. I think this was the it sidelined the show. I don't remember if this came after the show or um somewhere in between the show, but it's pretty much just the show of in the 60s based off of the movie. So I have a lot to say about this movie because if this was made today, traditionally speaking, people would talk shit about it because like yeah, it's not what Batman is supposed to be. Well, the 60s were a different time. You have to think it is based off of the show too. And I mean, some of the most iconic performances in DC history are in this movie or the show. I mean, this movie is like a trip to watch, especially if you enjoy Batman movies or just DC movies in general. You're gonna like this movie. And that's why I give it a pass on some of the things that would not pass today because it makes sense back then. Also, Adam West, bro, like, he may not have been the best Batman, but he's next to, hmm, next to Bale, he's my favorite because he just has that energy about him. But the show was deliberately over the top. It was campy, but it was a good campy, and it blended adventure with like satire really well. Um, they like. I mean, it's just a fun movie, right? Like the ridiculous plot. Um, there were a lot of memorable villains in this fucking movie. I mean, I think like one of my favorite things about these older movies were the Amanapana what Amana whatever, bro. The pow bam, when you punch someone, the sound effect and like the bubble. It's that's I love that. I love the things about this movie that you'll never see again, right? It's a piece of history. Um, and I've been talking about it way too long, but it's not in So Bad It's Good because it's actually a good movie. Um, I would actually argue it's it's definitely up here. It's up here. I would say it's up here. Um, I know some people would actually put it in creme de la creme or a masterpiece. And actually, I'm gonna put this in an amazing. I think, yeah. Oh, but it doesn't compare to these. Well, not every superhero movie has to be a multi-billion-dollar budget with AAA names, named actors. It doesn't need all of that. This movie is amazing for what it does and for what it was. So I'm giving it that. Batman Begins is next. I think Batman Begins is on here twice, actually. That's a little weird. Yeah, it is. I don't know why it's on here twice. Um, hmm. I think a lot of people talk shit about this movie because they inevitably they compare it to The Dark Knight, how it wasn't as good as The Dark Knight. But I actually think it was okay. It was a pretty good movie. Strong origin story for Batman. Christian Bale was amazing. I think Christopher Nolan is an amazing director. This movie had Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Liam Neeson, my bad. Um, Morgan Freeman was in this. Cillian Murphy was in this, bro. Amazing action. Some of the best shot. Oh my god, some of the best shots in any DC movie are in Batman Begins. The pacing was kind of mid. Also, I don't. This isn't the one that people talk shit about. They talk shit about uh. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, Batman Begins is pretty good. I think Batman Begins is a good movie. Um, I think I'm actually gonna put it right here. I think it's pretty fair for it. Okay, next is okay. I'm just gonna put this. I'm gonna put them both together. I don't care. I know. Split. So this is the only trilogy of movies that are non cinematic universe. So they're not DC or MCU. Um, I think we actually already ranked. Oh no, no, no! This is a first of the M Night Shyamalan like Unbreakable movies. So it's split. It goes Unbreakable, Split, and then Glass. Split is definitely number 2 on that list of movies. It's pretty good actually. You really if you're into like kind of non-traditionalist unorthodox superhero movies, then you'll really like the M Night Shyamalan trilogy because they do it differently and it actually works for the most part. Um Split is going in good movie, dude. I think this is a good movie. Um James McAvoy was amazing in this movie. He was very unsettling. There was a lot of tension, bro. The twist at the end was it was good. It was kind of predictable though, if I'm being honest. I liked the story. I liked the interactions between the characters. I liked the dialogue. Um, you got to check this movie out. Okay, you have to. Um, Next is Spider-Man: No Way Home. I thought this movie was pretty good. I feel like there was a little too much fan service because uh, I don't know, bro. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know, bro. It was funny though, and I did like the interactions between the characters. It's one of the most unique movies, okay? Because it oh my god, this movie was actually not bad at all. It was actually a pretty good movie. Um, I like that the acting was amazing. The story was amazing. The movie does raise like a lot of plot holes, and there's like a lot of logic issues, but eh. And the movie did lean a little too heavy on nostalgia, You know, if Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield weren't there, you know, would we really think about this movie as highly as we do? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know, but this movie's pretty good. I like what it does. And I think people that hate on it just don't like fun. So I'm actually gonna put this in not in good movie. And this is getting a little bloated. So I'm gonna move some of these up and some of these down. Um just because I'm gonna move Deadpool 2 up. I'm gonna move I'm gonna move Okay, we'll keep it like this for now. We'll keep it like this for now. Um Also, Guardians 3 is going a masterpiece. And then Guardians 2 is a good movie. And Guardians 1 is an amazing. Okay, I think that's pretty fair. I think that's pretty fair. And Guardians 2 is at the top of good movie, by the way. So he's cracking that amazing. Actually, yeah, he's going in amazing. Sorry, but yeah, he's going in amazing. Okay. So Spider-Man No Way Home, I think, is a good movie. Or where did I put it? Yeah. Good movie. I actually like it more than Homecoming. I actually do. Hate on me in the comments all you want, but I like it more than Homecoming. Um, Next is Batman 1989. Okay, let me tell you something, bro. This is our first Joker on the list. Joker appearance on the list. Um, of all the Jokers, I have to say Jack Nicholson is like my favorite. Um, there's something about his portrayal of Joker that I just really like. He's not the best though, and I'm gonna be honest, he's not the best, right? He's like third. He's like third best Joker. The best is obviously Heath Ledger. There's no question about it. But Jack Nicholson is my favorite. Um, but anyway, Tim Burton was one that he directed this movie. His aesthetic was amazing, bro. The production design and the art direction was amazing in this movie, and it's probably the most memorable thing about it. Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton at the time was actually not praised for his role as Batman, but now we actually like recognize how good of a Batman he was for his like intensity of the character. Um, Again, Nicholson is amazing as the Joker. The score in this movie is amazing and actually like one of the most iconic scores of any like superhero movie ever. I know I haven't been talking a lot about movie scores, mostly because like I said earlier, they sound the same kind of in a lot of a lot of the movies, and also score isn't gonna carry a superhero movie, but the score in this movie is really memorable, man. I have to give it credit. Um, some of the action sequences are a little like dated, and effects are kind of just eh. Sometimes the dialogue was kind of stiff, and I feel like the visuals were prioritized over the narration. I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's still a good movie, and I don't want to hear anyone say otherwise. I think Batman is actually like I think Batman's a good movie. I'm gonna put Batman Begins in amazing, by the way, and I'm just gonna have Batman Begins at the top of good movie too, because I don't know. I would just do that. I don't care. Okay. Um, what is next? Glass. Okay. So this is also part of the Shyamalan trilogy. It's definitely the weakest of the trilogy. This is the most recent one, the last one. This movie is very convoluted. It's disorganized. It relies on like too many twists. Pacing was slow. The movie has a tendency of telling you things rather than showing you, and so you feel like you can't really put yourself in the movie's shoes. You know, you're not really there with it. The dialogue was good, but there was like way too much dialogue, bro. There was just way too much dialogue. McAvoy, Bruce Willis, Sammy J, they gave amazing performances as always. I think my favorite part about this movie was the use of color, and the camera angles in this movie were just amazing. The sound design I also really appreciate, but you know, the aesthetic elements alone aren't gonna save a movie, unless they're like fucking revolutionary, which I mean they're really good, but I wouldn't put it at that level. I think this movie's just mid, okay? And I mean I'm sorry for the the people that appreciate this movie, but It's just all right, honestly. I can't put it in mid because I do like the direction of this movie. Um, it's going it's going right above Blade 2. I think that's or below Blade 2. I think that's pretty fair for this movie. Um, Next is Batman and the Mask of the Phantom. That's Phantasm. I've actually never been able to say it. Phantasm. Is it Phantasm? Um, this is the this is technically the prequel and the sequel to the Batman animated series, which by the way is goated. The Batman animated series is fucking goated. You need to watch it. Well, okay, it's amazing. It's amazing. Um, Kevin, what was his last name? Kevin Conroy, bro. He's actually probably the definitive like voice for Batman. He has like the best voice for Batman I've ever like heard. It's definitely like one of the best portrayals of Batman on screen. Um, Mark Hamill, oh my god, Mark Hamill was amazing as the Joker. In fact, Joker in this movie is actually like one of the I would actually say is like top three Joker performances. Like he's so good in the wait wait I think I'm thinking of a I don't remember, but Mark Hamill is amazing. Um, the animation is amazing. It has like an Art Deco feel, like the series itself does too. So it's obviously it's based off the series. Um, I think the flashbacks in this movie were like a little off-putting, and the Phantasm reveal was like kind of predictable at the end. But overall, I think this is a really good movie. I'm gonna put this in amazing. I'm actually gonna put it right above Guardians of the Galaxy. No, it's right below. It's right below Deadpool 2. I know I'm changing my mind a lot, but yeah, I think that's pretty fair. All right, so sorry for that weird cut there, um, but I noticed that there's actually kind of a lack of DC movies on this list, and I know that's not the case because I'm pretty sure there are more DC movies than there are Marvel movies. Um, Not DCU, but extended DC universe. And this is the part of the video where I'm gonna say like, yes, I know this isn't every superhero movie ever, but these are the ones that I think are most important to people. Um, I put every single DCU movie on this list. I put all 15 of them on here, because none of them were on the list, believe it or not. But I put all of them on here. Added some non-universe movies, so I figured the three most popular non DC or Marvel movies are The Incredibles, Incredible 1, and Incredible 2, and Megamind. And then I guess after that, you could say the Glass series, but I just wanted to add these three. They're the only animated movies on the oh, okay. They're not they're some of the only animated movies on the list, and I wanted to add more diversity. One day I'll do a revised tier list. Maybe I'll rank like every single superhero movie ever because there are a lot of movies in DC and Marvel that go back to like the 1950s that I've never seen anyone rank, but I mean I could. I just have to watch them, which is kind of why I didn't want to put them on the list anyway because I haven't watched them. So, but enough yapping. Sorry for that weird cut there. Um, okay, so next is Batman Forever. Oh boy. So dude, this movie is like the definition of so bad it's good. Um, I don't know. The more that these movies age, I mean, I guess the less people care about them. I feel like, bro. I don't know. I don't know, bro. It's the very definition of a campy movie. Um, it's it's so different than like any other serious Batman movie you'll ever like. Going from oh my god, like so much bright like colors, neon lights. The villains were cartoonish, bro. The plot was generic and messy. Um, bro, if Jim Carrey is the villain in your movie, you already know that the directors don't take like the plot seriously, bro. Don't get me wrong, I love Jim Carrey, and actually, this is gonna piss people off, but Jim Carrey as the Joker is my favorite Joker portrayal of any like DC movie ever. I think like personally, it's my favorite because he's funny and he's over the top, and he's like, I know the edge lords online love the new Batman movie's portrayal of the Riddler because, oh my god, I said Joker, didn't I? It's the Riddler. My bad. Um, I know the edgelords online love the 2024 Batman Riddler, but like as good as that is, as damn near perfect as that is, Jim Carrey just has a special place in my heart. Honestly, if it wasn't for Jim Carrey, this would just be a dog shit movie. But he's amazing in this movie. Um, there's a lot of good entertainment value. Like I said, this tier, like these movies are all dog shit, but there's there's something to watch them again for. Like the entertainment value in this movie is there, okay? And so I can't shy away from that. It's pretty entertaining. I think of all the things to hate on in this movie, the visual style is not one of them. I actually am a fan of how this movie looks, like the production design. Um, but yeah, it's pretty bad. It's just fun to watch. I think that's pretty simple to say. Next is Multiverse of Madness. Compared to the first Doctor Strange movie, it's not as good. I think a lot of people. Okay, I'm actually gonna put your first Doctor Strange up here. I think this is pretty fair for that. And then I'm gonna put the Multiverse of Madness at the end of good movie. The story was really messy. I feel like this movie was like literally just a bridge between other MCU projects, like WandaVision. Um, there was more this movie could have expanded, like with the multiverse. I feel this movie did kind of a disservice to that. The cameos were kind of fun, but it's just fan service, and I don't have respect for Marvel movies when they do fan service just for popular appeal. There wasn't really much of a reason to do any of that. There were a lot of plot holes, like the incursions, Wanda's inconsistent power, bro, um, and like the strange like memories of Spider-Man after No Way Home. I don't know. Some of that stuff didn't really make sense to me. The visuals were really good though. Like objectively, they were really good in this movie. Um, I heard a lot of people say like they don't like this movie because it gives them a headache, but like you're a little crybaby, bro. Like the visuals are pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean it might make you a little nauseous, but it's cool, bro. It's cool. I'm gonna put that in good movie. Next is I think this is The Dark Knight Rises. This is actually a pretty good movie. Christian Bale again, he's fucking amazing. The action sequences were really good, particularly with like the use of the IMAX cameras, which were like really cool. The score was amazing. Um, I think Bane's portrayal was all right. Not the best, not the worst. Tom Hardy was a good actor though. Tom Hardy was he was a good actor as Bane. It's just the way that Bane was portrayed was just Like Bane's demise was really underwhelming. There were inconsistencies, like Wayne's return to Gotham. The police were like trapped in the sewers. The bomb operation that was weird. Um, and inevitably, okay, this is the biggest thing with this movie. Inevitably, people were gonna compare this to The Dark Knight because it comes right after The Dark Knight. And after coming from literal peak, you go to a movie that isn't bad, but it's not nearly as good as its predecessor. So people compare this movie to Dark Knight, and that's why it gets so low reviews. I feel like, but if The Dark Knight had never been made, or it was marginally worse than how it actually is, then this movie would be more favored and looked upon, in a kinder light. But I don't. I honestly think this movie's not as bad as people think it was. I think it's actually better. It's like Age of Ultron. Actually, this movie is like it's like the DC's Age of Ultron, honestly. I think that's actually a pretty good comparison. Yeah. If okay, I think actually the Avengers might be in. No, Winter Soldier's in Masterpiece. No, no, wait, actually, okay, I'm not gonna change my mind about the stuff I can't. I'm wasting time. I do that a lot. We're just gonna keep this here. Um, okay, what's next? Batman Returns. Okay, so this movie's pretty good. Um, excuse me. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman was amazing. This is Catwoman is better in this movie than she is in her standalone, which is sad, but she is really good in this movie. Danny DeVito as Penguin was really good. Michael Keaton again, he's amazing as Batman. The movie also introduced the new like an entirely new villain in Max Shrek, played by I believe it was Christopher Walken. Yeah, yeah, that was amazing. The style in this movie was amazing. I feel like Batman gets overshadowed a little too much. I feel like it kind of takes away from his story, and there were some unnecessary deviations from like the comics, but I think Batman Begins is actually a pretty good movie. Or my bad, Batman Returns. I think this is better than. I think this is honestly like right here. I honestly would put that right there. Okay, next is Batman and Robin. Again, it's just a so bad it's good movie. Um, very campy, very cheesy. The story and the dialogue were just not it. Underdeveloped characters. I think the Mr. Freeze of this movie, excuse me, is what the Riddler was in Batman Forever. Mr. Freeze was funny as hell, bro. Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy was like, iconic. Bane sucked though, bro. I think this is no, it's easily the worst portrayal of Bane in any Batman movie ever. This movie like turned Bane into some like mindless slob. Like literally Bane like he's just some brainless henchman in this fucking movie. And it's sad because Bane is typically like a man of intelligence and like refinedness, but in this movie he's just a henchman, and I always found that weird. The editing was choppy and the fight sequences were like all over the place. And George Clooney as Batman was kind of uninspired. But again, these movies have so much entertainment value, like I just have to put them here. So yeah, those are going there. Next is Holy Goat. Holy Goat. This is The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is so far it is the best superhero movie on the list. Um, Genuinely. It's not as good as Infinity War. I don't care. I don't care. This is one of those rankings where like I don't care what you think. Like this is going in creme de la creme. Like there's no debate. Okay, this movie is a masterpiece. I could go on and on about why it is, but to keep it short, um, gosh, okay. This is not only one of the best superhero movies ever, but it's one of the best movies ever. Again, that's why it's up here. I mean, The Dark Knight is constantly talked about as being like top 30 movies of all time, top 50 movies of all time. That's the list. 30 is a stretch, but yeah, I've seen like so many people put Dark Knight in their top 10 just because of how good of a movie. It's amazing. Um, okay, where do I begin? Heath Ledger, bro. Heath Ledger is objectively the best Joker portrayal like ever. Um, he's amazing. Damn near perfect portrayal, bro. Like genuinely, um, Christian Bale again. He's amazing as Batman. Um, Aaron Eckhart as Two Face was amazing, etc. There was some amazing action and cinematography in this movie, bro. Hans Zimmer's score in this movie was top notch, bro. This film is also like so influential overall. Like it's, oh my god, bro, oh my god. I guess a downside would be Joker's plot really required a lot of luck, and some of the plot points were like really weak, they weren't really weak, but they were kind of weak. But I'm gonna give it to this movie. It's the best so far. I don't care what you think. It's up there, bro. Oh, the original 1978 Superman. One of the most iconic superhero movies of all time. Um, Amazing portrayal of Clark Kent by who was it? Christopher Reeves. I could be wrong with that last name, but I think that was his name. Legendary, genuinely legendary. Um, Top 10 most iconic like superhero performances of all time. Um, I A lot of people out there are of the belief that no other actor has ever matched like Christopher's ability to transition between two characters. Like his oh my god. Stellar cast. You had Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Margot Kidder, just to name a few. John Williams score in this movie. Bro, the Superman theme, come on, bro. I think it was a little slow at some parts, but you can blame that maybe a little bit on the time because this is a 1978, obviously. Um, and also, it's the first live action introduction of Superman. So there are going to be like contingency errors and whatnot. But this is definitely an amazing movie. It's honestly a masterpiece, bro. I honestly think this movie is a masterpiece. Um, I'm gonna put it right. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna put it right there, bro. It goes right there. It goes right there. Next is Man of Steel. So when this movie came out, it was like trashed on, and I still think Man of Steel is pretty. It's just all right, honestly. It's about. I look at this movie the same way I look at Black Widow. Or no, I look at this movie the same way I look at Iron Man 3, honestly. Um, it took a way more serious and like realistic approach to Superman. Uh, that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It was visually amazing though, and Zack Snyder is a really good director, especially for this movie. Like the fights between Superman and the Kryptonians were like really good. I like Henry Cavill. Michael Shannon was a good Zod, but the ending was like not it, bro. I'm of the opinion that killing Zod was not a good ending. For a lot of reasons. There were also a ton of logic issues, like how Metropolis got just like pretty much half destroyed, bro. Like, and there's almost no accountability. Like, come on, dude. Um, I don't know. I feel like this movie's it's just all right. Um, I really can't think of a whole lot to say because the movie after this is a lot worse, and that's kind of what I'm building up to. Um, Batman versus Superman is a trash movie, bro. This movie's not it. Um, so okay, I'll start with the good things, right? Ben Affleck was pretty good as Batman. Okay. This is the first introduction of Wonder Woman, or Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, but the story was so confusing and the editing was so choppy. Batman and Superman were not realistic at all. They were complete deviations from their comic book characters and previous portrayals of the characters, bro. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was so mid. I mean, he's a good actor, but like, he just didn't really have what I was looking for. And Lex Luthor in this movie felt kind of cartoonish. Um, the inclusion of the Justice League cameos and Doomsday like really felt forced. Like there was no need for it. It just took away from the plot. Which, by the way, the plot was like, I don't know, bro. It's a trash movie. I'm sorry. And it's weird because, excuse me. For a while, I feel like this movie was considered to be like pretty good, but people are realizing that it just isn't. It just isn't, bro. It just isn't. Um. So next is the Justice League. Um. Yeah, this is trash. Yeah, it's like it goes like right here, bro. Um, like it's messy, disjointed. The villain, I believe his name was Steppenwolf. He was very generic and forgettable. The jokes sucked. Bad pacing. CGI looked horrible. I think if I can recall specifically, bro, Henry Cavill's mustache that they had to like digitally remove, bro. It's just the CGI was so bad. I don't know, bro. And it sucks because this was an anticipated movie for a lot of people, and they fucked it up so bad, and that's why I'm like really. I included the next one, Justice League, the Jack Snyder cut, because that's what this one should have been, and that's what this one is. And so I gave it a lot of praise. Jack Snyder Justice League is an amazing movie. I think it's not. It's actually at the top of good movie for me. It was way more cohesive. There was a way more detailed narrative, improved character arcs like for Cyborg and Flash, who were kind of like undermined in the last movie. The villain was given a lot more purpose, better action, better visual effects. Some of the same shortcomings though, but I think it actually improves tenfold, and so it's going at top of good movie. Next is Shazam. So, I thought Shazam was really good. Zachary Levi was amazing in Shazam. Good humor, amazing story. Definitely stands out against the other DC movies. It's a lot different. But Mark Strong was good as Dr. Savannah. Dr. Wait, I don't remember her name. I think it was Dr. Savannah, Doctor something like that. But the villain, it was just lacking depth. There wasn't really a whole lot of motive. It was like the toning of the movie was like uneven, predictable plot. But I do really appreciate this movie. I think it's a good movie. I think Shazam is honestly actually it's a not bad kid movie. It's like it's like Deadpool kind of. I feel like it goes right here. Okay. And then next is Shazam: Fear of the Gods, which I think is better actually. Some people think it's worse, but I think Shazam: Fear of the Gods is actually pretty better. Is better. It's like right here, bro. Honestly, it's like right here. Better action, better visual effects, specifically for like the dragons and like the mythical creatures. Acting was really good. The Daughters of Atlas had good acting, but the motivations were uninspired. The plot was pretty predictable. I feel like Shazam himself was actually a little worse off than the first movie, but I feel overall it was a general improvement as a movie. So I'm gonna put it there. Next is Black Adam. Okay, bro. I'm gonna drop something on y'all. I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a pretty good actor. In fact, I think he's a good actor. But he has a tendency, whenever he's playing anything in a movie, and it's live action, it feels like he's just playing himself, bro. Like Jumanji, bro. That's the only that's the only thing I can think of at the moment. But like, that's literally just Dwayne playing himself, bro. Like, I can't see Dwayne in any live action role that isn't himself, because it literally just is himself. Like, he has a tendency to play himself in his roles a lot. It doesn't matter how faithful he is to the character he's playing. It just comes off like it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna hold that against him too much though, because that's not his fault. He puts a lot of effort into these fucking movies, and I gotta give him credit where credit's due. Black Adam, thankfully, I mean, sometimes it feels like he's playing himself. He's a way too like stoic, and he like stares at the camera and he does that thing that he does in every single movie he's in. But this movie tends to be less Dwayne and more Black Adam, which I like. I think he's actually a pretty good Black Adam. Okay? I think finding someone to play Black Adam was like actually a pretty hard task. It's kind of a hard role to perfect, and I'm not going to say he perfected it, because there's some nuances to Black Adam's character, but he is a pretty good Black Adam, and I'm going to give him that. Besides that little tangent, good acting, stunning visuals. This movie like expanded the universe a lot. They introduced new characters like Hawkman and Dr. Fate. I really did like the anti-hero theme with Adam. They really did emphasize that. I like that. Generic plot though. The villain was weak. The humor was not it, and there was too much CGI, which sucks because I really wanted this movie to be amazing, even though I knew it wasn't going to be. I think this is a not bad kid movie. It's right next to like, oh wait, I think I moved Quantumania. Where was Quantumania? It was right here, right? Mid? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Black Adam goes in like not bad kid. I think that's pretty fair. Next is The Flash, 2023. Um, so let me start off by saying I liked Ezra Miller in this movie. He was a pretty good Flash. Um, I feel like there was a lot of fan service, like Michael Keaton's Batman. Ezra Miller was like two different. Like he played two different Barry Allens, and he was pretty fucking good. Um, Sasha's portrayal of Supergirl was amazing. The CGI though was mid, bad plot, bad villain, yada yada yada. I think there was too much fan service. You get the idea with these DC movies, these new gen ones. They're just the same. I would say this is slightly better than Black Adam, but it's like I want to put Ant Man up here. By the way, I think Ant Man's on the same level as Thor, but the Flash is kind of just it's right here, bro. Um, Next is Superman 2025. So, I recently just watched this. Yes, I didn't go to theaters. I watched this on a free online. So maybe I didn't get the full experience, but I don't care. I think this was a okay. I feel like this is a really good reboot for Superman and DC overall because a lot of people are losing confidence in DC, and this is a really good way of saying, yeah, we can still make good movies. We still know what Superman is supposed to look like. Yes, we read the comics. Yes, we aren't just a bunch of like executives at a board in a boardroom who don't know anything about Superman writing Superman stories. No, we are dedicated people to the story. Um, Amazing portrayal of Superman. David Cornsweet. How the fuck do you say his last name, bro? I don't know, but he was really good. A lot of people were clouding on him because he seemed kind of awkward, but I think he was actually pretty good. Rachel Brosnahan, bro. What are these weird ass last names? I think that was her last name anyway. As Lois, bro, she was amazing. They had a lot of chemistry in this movie, bro. Nicholas Holt's portrayal of Lex Luthor was good as well. Movie was really enjoyable. I think the world building was kind of rushed though, and the plot was overstuffed. I think they kind of expected you to already know everything about Superman to a T, kinda, because they didn't go through any or like yeah. Um, but to say that it was bad is no. This is a pretty good movie. I think this is at the top of good movie for me. Next is Wakanda Forever. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Um, but I'm gonna be honest with you. This movie gets romanticized because of a lot of things at play here. I think this movie is just a not bad kid. I think it goes right here, bro, above Ant-Man and Thor. But it's like, eh. Um, so Angela Bassett was really good as Queen Ramona. I like Namor's actor a lot. Visually, it was very impressive. But this movie did not have to be almost 3 hours long, bro. Namor and Ironheart were kind of underdeveloped. The final act was like just mid, and oh my god, oh my god, excuse me. Especially the final battle, bro. It just was not it. But overall, overall, this movie's not bad, and I'm gonna put it there. But you know what is bad? Thor: Love and Thunder. What a dog shit movie, bro. Like genuinely, like, how are you this dog shit? Like, be so for real, bro. I think it's better than Thor: The Dark World because at least this movie has some entertainment value. But like, it's not it. Thor: The Dark World is actually like down here, bro. It's down here, bro. But anyway, Thor: Love and Thunder, horrible movie. Way too much comedy, bro. They tried to be Ragnarok with this movie so much, and that's why I said Ragnarok had a bad influence on movies overall. Because these new Marvel movies think that the only thing they need to be a good movie is humor, and that's not true. So way too much humor. The tone was bad. Gore the God Butcher was just a wasted character. Um, Bale gives a good performance. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not it. The CGI was subpar. Green screens were overused, bro. Like, don't even get me started with the floating head on Heimdall's son, bruh. The plot and script were so weak. Thor gets dumbed down entirely, bro. This movie, he's just a complete idiot in this fucking movie, bro. He is nothing like he was in the first movie, and it just sucks. It just sucks. So yeah, I think it's going there. The Batman. We have a lot to talk about with this movie. Um, I think the Batman is a pretty amazing movie. I genuinely do think that. I think Begins is actually a better movie. I'm also gonna put this here, but um, so the plot unfolds in this movie almost like a detective movie. It's very similar to Seven. If you've ever watched Seven before, which by the way is an amazing movie, it really feels like Seven. Um, Very unique for Batman movies. I appreciate that side of Batman. It's not as touched on, and it's unique that this movie goes down that path. Um, the visuals were very atmospheric and gritty. Robert Patterson is an amazing Batman. It's a more realistic approach. The 3 hour runtime though was kind of slow. Um, the dialogue was kind of meh. The Joker cameo was not needed, by the way. A lot of people had problems with the final act. I think the final act was all right, actually, and I think the highlight of this movie obviously is the Riddler. Um, the Riddler in this movie is like top tier, best Riddler performance. Not Jim Carrey's my favorite, but this is the best one. I mean, what else do I say? I mean, it's just an amazing movie. It really is. Next is Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Yeah, I don't really have much to say because it's just the first Venom movie, but worse, bro. It's like it's just literally just it's here, bro. It's here. I'm sorry, bro. Um, it was just I mean, Carnage, the character Carnage was pretty cool. There was nice action and visuals, but there was just no substance to the plot, bro. I felt Carnage was just there to be there. You know what I mean? The movie itself was made. I don't really have much else to say. It's just kind of there. Um, okay, The Incredibles. The Incredibles is a masterpiece, and actually, I would honestly argue Incredibles is creme de la creme, but I'm gonna put it at the top of masterpiece. Amazing action, great dialogue, good humor, animation was superb. Brad Bird is a really good director. What else do I say about this movie? If you've watched it, you already know why it's amazing. Um, Arguably the best non-cinematic universe, so non-MCU, non-DC movie ever made. Although I think there is one contender for that spot that we're gonna get to in a minute. Um, but yeah, that goes top of masterpiece. There's no question about it. Incredibles 2, I really like Incredibles 2, but it's not as good as the first one. Um, Great animation, great action, um, good humor, good performances, but the plot was predictable and the villain was as well. There was a lot less depth to this movie. I like it. I like it a lot. There are some things that it improves on, but I'm just gonna put it in amazing. I'm actually just gonna put it in good movie. Sorry, but that's just me. I don't think it reaches that level that The Incredibles, the original one, did. But I've been seeing people put Incredibles 2 in like trash, and like you have no clue what you're talking about, man. You have no clue what you're talking about. So yeah. Next is Megamind. Yeah, I threw this one in here. I love this movie. I don't have really a lot to say because I'm sure you know why it's amazing. Uh, I kind of want to put it in masterpiece, but like, it is a masterpiece, bro. It's going right up here, bro. It's going right up here. Um, what do I even say that hasn't already been said? I think at first this movie was really bad. Like people thought this movie was really bad. I was one of the only people that thought this movie was really good. I like it wasn't until like recently, like the last 4 years or so, that this movie started to gain a lot of traction because people realized like, damn, Megamind was actually a good movie, and it was just overshadowed by the Minion or not the Minions. Fucking hell, what was that movie called? You know what I'm talking about, Gru. If you need to steal the moon or whatever, I forgot what was that fucking movie called. Whatever. Anyway, um, Megamind is a masterpiece. Despicable Me. Despicable Me. I don't know how I forgot that, but yeah, Megamind's a masterpiece. Yeah, we're keeping it there. We're keeping it there. Um, what is next? Oh, Blue Beetle. Um, So Blue Beetle is one of those movies that I hear nobody talk about, but it's not. It's actually a pretty okay movie. I think it's a not bad kid movie. I think it's like right behind Shazam. Um, Zolo, oh my god, how do you say his last name? Mariduena. I don't forget how you say his last name, but his portrayal of oh my god, what's Blue Beetle's like? Yeah, Jaime Reyes, is that how you say his name? Was like amazing. He was magnetic. He was extremely charismatic. He had a great performance. Um, I can't say anything against his character because he was a really good Blue Beetle. I like this film's unique aesthetic, like with its vibrant colors and its well choreographed action sequences. Very very like amazing strengths with this film, but the storyline was generic and predictable. There was like the villain Victoria Cord, bro. She was so one dimensional, like so one dimensional. I felt Blue Beetle himself was kind of underdeveloped at times, with powers that weren't fully explored on, and the Scarab's origin wasn't fully built on either. But I think it was a good movie. I'll put it in good movie. Um, so next are the Aquaman movies. Yeah. Aquaman one. Amazing visuals, amazing CGI. Jason Samoa was really good. Wait, it's Jason Momoa, not Samoa. What the hell? This movie embraced a lot of weirdness, but I like it. Okay, this movie was good. I think the writing was a little weak, and the dialogue was cliche and predictable, and there was no character depth. But I like this movie. I genuinely like this movie. I think it's a not bad kid movie. I really do. I think it's X2, bro. No, 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 no. It's not X2. It's better than that. It's up here. Um Next is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Terrible script, terrible dialogue. CGI quality was horrible. Everything I liked about the other movie gone. It's just a trash movie, bro. Sorry. Wonder Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman is amazing. This movie's so good. Um I think it's amazing. I really do. I think it's like right here next to Shang-Chi. Very good entry into the DCU. Um bro, um fuck, what was her name, bro? Uh oh my god. The actress who played Wonder Woman, I'm forgetting her name, but I said it earlier. She was amazing. Um the direction of this movie was incredible. I think the only bad thing was the climax wasn't as interesting. And the pacing was kind of cramped, but it was good. This movie was really good. I liked this movie a lot. And this movie gave us a lot of expectations for the like following DC entries. And unfortunately, they don't really deliver. But I do think that this is a really good movie, and I am going to give it credit where credit's due. So yeah, cannot say the same about Wonder Woman 1984 though. It's pretty trash. It is pretty trash. Um, Bloated, messy plot, confusing character motivations. One of the only bright spots was Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord. The action was mid, CGI was disappointing, especially with like Cheetah's final form. Um, I didn't really like the way that they brought Steve Trevor back, the way that they did. That was just mid. Overall, this movie's not what I was looking for in a Wonder Woman movie, so it's just bad. Um, so next is Morbius. Oh, Morbius. Oh, Morbius, you terrible, terrible dog shit movie. I don't know why you were ever made. Um, bro, this movie's so bad. It's so bad, bro. uh, bro, this is the definition of a shit movie, bro. It's weak story, weak plot. It's so generic and predictable. Slow beginning, an abrupt ending. The main villains, like Milo, were just bad. The CGI and the visual effects were bad as well. Morbius looked horrible, bro. there's no entertainment value in this movie whatsoever, other than it's so bad. And I'm not gonna put it in so bad it's good, because the reason these movies are good, are fun to watch, is these movies were intentionally made that way, Morbius tries to take itself seriously, but it's not. It's just so bad, bro. Uh, it's just right there, bro. I mean, Jared Leto was cool, I guess, but like, no, it's shit. It's a shit movie. I'm sorry. Okay, Fantastic Four, the 2025 reboot. I just watched this 2 days ago, and I can safely say it is not only the best Fantastic Four movie, but it is one of the best MCU movies that has come out. And yeah, it's amazing. I really do like this movie. Think it. I think it's a top of good movie. I actually think this movie's better than Superman. I'm gonna explain why. Um, Very good reboot. Amazing cast with Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby. I'm forgetting Joseph Quinn and Ebon Moss. Eben Moss. I forgot how you say his name. There was tons of chemistry. Look, say what you will about the other Fantastic Four movies, but something that all of these movies have is the characters in the movies have some chemistry. This movie has a lot of chemistry. I appreciate what they have done for the characters in this movie. Um, the production design and the visuals were amazing. The editing was superb. I really appreciate that it's a standalone film. You don't have to know jack shit prior to watching this movie. I think Galactus and Silver Surfer were kind of generic. Okay, I mean they kind of explored Silver Surfer a little bit, but enough. Was it really enough to have her betray Galactus at the end? Maybe it was. Galactus himself was a little generic. Um, I also didn't really like Ben Grimm's romance with Natasha. That was a little weird. That was a little weird because they had like two scenes together, bro. They had literally had two scenes together, and you're telling me that they have a thing. I don't know, bro. It was kind of forced. But I think this movie was really good. I really do. Again, the production design and the editing are what make this movie amazing. The 1960s retro feel, like, yeah, this movie's pretty good. I almost want to put it in amazing, but I don't want to butt heads because this movie just came out too, which is also why I don't want to make Superman up here. So we gotta wait a little bit, but I think it's a good movie. Um, and finally, the last movie on this list, um, the best non-cinematic universe superhero movie of all time, and perhaps the greatest superhero movie of all time. Not the greatest, I don't know. It is Unbreakable. I think Unbreakable is creme de la creme. Um, it is gold standard for superhero movies. I know a lot of people have not seen Unbreakable or even heard of it. Um, but it does this really unique approach. It's like a superhero movie. It's a very human movie. It's the best way I can describe it. There's a ton of good psychological elements. Bruce Willis is amazing as David Dunn. Sammy J is amazing as Elijah Prince. He's also okay, dude. I'm not gonna give away the ending to this movie because I want people to watch it a lot. But there's the twist, bro, is so good. It's so good, bro. It's so fucking good. Um, M Night Shyamalan, he's amazing. His direction is crazy good. With his like long uninterpreted takes. Um, I really appreciate this movie, man. I really do. Uh, and it really wasn't appreciated for a long time until people started going back to Shyamalan's movies and saying, you know what, this movie's pretty fucking good, and The Sixth Sense isn't as good as we thought, and actually, Shyamalan's other movies are better. Well, okay, that's a little bit of an overstatement, but yeah, I think for Unbreakable that's the case. But yeah, it's creme de la creme. I really love this movie a lot. Um, but yeah, that is the superhero tier list completed. I know it's not every superhero movie. I will do one, not anytime soon, but eventually I'll do an updated one for every movie. Um, Maybe in like a year or two. I don't know. This took a long time, but I think this is pretty accurate. I was gonna cut and move some things around, but I think this is actually a pretty good way to end off the video. Um, yeah, I like this list a lot. I appreciate all of you for watching this video. I think I haven't looked at it yet, but I have a feeling this video is going to be like almost 3 hours long, sometime around that watermark or time mark. So yeah, I appreciate you for watching all this way. If you'd like, I really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button, the noti bell. Again, I'm going to be making tier list videos for a while. I know I took a break a little while ago, but I'm getting back into it. And I mean, give me requests in the comment section. I will rank almost anything if I'm familiar with it. But once again, thanks for watching my video. Yeah, have a great day, guys.